it do, beautiful people? Welcome to another edition of Quick Dip, brought to you by the Pop Culture Corner. Myself, I go by Big Drip, aka 33 Cent, aka I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now. We are time limited. To my right, left is Jack. Get Jacked 141, our producer, our co-host, dare I say, my friend. Below me, we have a special guest today, people. Chad, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Chad Michael Collins, everybody.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Also to be hanging with you guys. We're talking about some fun stuff.
Yeah, we were excited to have you on here. As soon as I said your name, my sister was like, "Where is he from?" I remember I said, "Alex from Modern Warfare," and she's like, "Was he the hot one?" I'm like, "Yes, he was the hot one."
usually I get it. Is that the one with one leg? That's typically what I get.
And so
the mustache.
You're in a lot of great stuff. I actually also saw the Creepshow episode you were in because I recently got Shudder. But I wanted you to know if you could tell us a little about yourself, how you got into acting. Was it something you wanted to do? Was it something you kind of got into?
Yeah, I took a really roundabout road to acting. I haven't heard it a remotely similar journey. I was a journalism major in college. I scooted out to LA to do an internship. I fell in with an entertainment publicist who was handling TV and film actors. So we were promoting their projects. That turned into a job really quickly as his assistant. So I worked in the industry for a number of years before I ever even took my first acting class. It never occurred to me up to that point. I grew up in a small town, just, on that all-American diet of football, basketball, baseball, and trying to get good grades. First kid to go to school, college, post-high school. So it was really fun. But, I always knew LA was a place for me when I learned that my school, Ithaca College, for anybody who's listening that is from back east, when I learned that there was an opportunity to go out and live and get started in the industry in LA, I jumped at it. And I grew up 3 hours north of New York City, but it never really interested me. LA was just a place that always spoke to me growing up. So I worked in the industry. I met awesome people. I learned a lot about the entertainment industry in general. And then, some people put a bug in my ear to try some acting classes. I did. So I turned into just kind of casual acting a little bit on the side while still continuing to hold down my day job. And then I was wanting to explore acting a little bit more, and I was juggling both, kind of two full-time endeavors, which was exhausting. But for the last probably 6-7 years now, I've been a full-time actor. Really lucky to be able to say that I am, and that's how I got where I am today. So journalism degree is just collecting dust in a closet somewhere, but you know what? All in due time.
There it is. Yeah. There it is.
What small town were you from?
I'm sorry?
What small town were you from?
I grew up in a small town called Canajoharie, New York, which is kind of halfway between Albany, New York, and Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Right on the old I-90 freeway. So that's where I grew up. Town of about 2,500 people. Okay. So it was fun. It was a really fun, outdoorsy, rural experience. I grew up shoving a lot of cow manure and baling a lot of hay and all the other fun stuff that comes with growing up country.
Yeah. There it is.
How old were you when you moved to LA? Because I asked our last guest, because he's from Philly. That's a big trip, leaving everything, going. Basically, it's like going to another country in terms of distance, almost. Going to LA. What was that like for you?
It was really, it was amazing, and New York you get crushed by all four seasons. I think all four seasons are equally brutal at times. So, and LA just has like basically one season. It's called summer. And then around January, February, you get something called, sprinkles of rain, and that's it for a few days. So it was really a drastic change for the better. I'm an outdoorsy guy. I love playing sports outside. I could just do it all year round out here. But I think I was 21 when I hit the road. I was a senior in college. When I came out to just do that 6-month-long internship, my last semester of college, I packed up my 92 fire engine red Pontiac Firebird and drove it across country with my late grandfather. So we had a little road trip coming out here, and he flew back.
Nice.
Which was it was a super cool experience. Yeah. And I never left. I went back for a week. I flew back home for a week to graduate that May, and I came right back to LA and just got started. So that's how I found my way here. Once I got here, I knew I wasn't going to leave.
Yep, there it is. There it is. It's funny. I have a similar story. So when I was about 14, I was living in Sacramento. Same difference. Instead of a road trip, we took a train and we're in Boston. So from Boston to Sacramento, saw the entire country.
Wow.
Probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It was amazing.
That's really cool. I've always wanted to do that train trip up the Northwest Corridor. Like just start out in San Diego, take it all the way up to Seattle. And just,
that would be nice.
Sites. I hear that's a great ride.
Absolutely. Love doing things like that. Love catching the sights. Love seeing the country. Absolutely.
I get asked a lot, if I could go anywhere in the world, where would I want to go? I don't really have a huge bucket list for a lot of foreign countries, although I take any experience I could get.
Okay.
I've always wanted to just explore the US. We're like 10 countries in one.
It's true.
Montana is so different from California, which is so different from Florida, which is so different from anywhere else. So there's a lot to see here, and I've not been able to see it all. But one of these days, I'll pull Matthew McConaughey, get a fancy Airstream trailer, and just hit the road and stop all over the place.
Talk about the dream.
That's right.
That's right.
What was your first big break? I was looking through you've been in so much stuff. I was looking at those sniper movies with Tom Berenger. Was that sort of like the big one? You did a small stuff, and then was it Sniper or was it anything else? I think
hopping on the Sniper franchise when they rebooted that, about 10 years ago, that was when the light bulb went off. That experience was amazing. I got to work with Billy Zane. I got to shoot in South Africa, which is an unbelievably majestic country. I was still working full time, doing the publicity thing, did the publicist thing. And that was the one experience where I just said, I'm 110% all in, because I can always go back and get a desk job, but experience like this are just amazing. And that was when I started to take acting really seriously and just really, wanted to go for it and just see where it would take me. And so far it's taken me all around the world, and I've met so many amazing, super fun people, and just become more world traveled, just learning. Shooting 5 movies in Bulgaria. I filmed in everywhere from Canada to Hawaii to, Turkey to, Colombia, all over the place. It's been incredible. And, you don't get that at a desk job. So I think I made the right call.
So let me ask you this. I want to get to your movies and television shows, but I know most people know you from Modern Warfare. Before I ask you how you got into Modern Warfare, what is your history with gaming? Because I know you do a channel now, but were you into gaming prior to Hidden Agenda, prior to Modern Warfare?
Oh yeah. I grew up, I have vague memories of my grandmother having an Atari. So when me and my brother finally broke my dad down, and we did get that Nintendo at Christmas, 88, 89, that was it for me, and I was all in. So I was everything on Nintendo, everything Super Nintendo. When I was in college, I got my first PC, so I started playing everything from your OG
Warcraft.
Grand Theft Auto. Warcraft I played for 12 years.
We all did.
So I've always been a gamer, my whole life. So being able to take an acting career and transition into video games it's been just an amazing bucket list item for me, especially Call of Duty, which is one of the biggest franchises ever created in the video game industry.
You played the original trilogy, Modern Warfare, right? Because that's the one that made me a gamer.
I played it, and I'm always a story guy, campaign guy. I love fantasy RPGs. So, when I played Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 back in the day, I just played the campaign. I wasn't on the whole multiplayer Kool-Aid.
Oh, really? Modern Warfare 2 had some excellent online play. Excellent.
That's what I'm learning about now. And obviously with Modern Warfare, the one that I'm in, the soft reboot we did, I've learned all about the multiplayer universe between Warzone and everything else. And I just got to say, I get it now. It's so much fun. I have a blast.
Okay. So chat. All right. So I got a question, and this is really going to kind of determine all right. No, PlayStation or Xbox?
What is it? Sorry?
PlayStation or Xbox?
I own an Xbox, but I got to be honest, I'm a PC guy all the way. So
really? Okay. All right.
That raging debate doesn't even apply to me, because I've owned PlayStations before, and I've owned Xboxes before, and mostly I just always come back to my PC no matter what.
There it is. You got a good computer, then you ride that bad boy out, right? Might as well. They're not cheap.
I just upgraded this summer because Modern Warfare is a beast, and I found my old 3-year-old gaming PC could not handle it, especially with streaming. So I got a big fancy HP Omen, and the thing cranks, so it can handle it nice now.
Nice.
What's your kill death ratio? It's a cheap question, but I gotta ask.
Oh God, not good.
Not good
I honestly, I don't even know. I I have no idea. I'm just assuming it's terrible.
Mine's awful too.
Yeah, it's
and it sucks. Black Ops just came out. I played the campaign, but I haven't touched multiplayer because I'm still into Modern Warfare. Like, you know, it's a wonderful game. It felt like the series just got a kickstart because, you know, the first trilogy, I think, was responsible for mainstreaming gaming. Because when I was in college, everyone knew about Modern Warfare. And then, you know, they went to Future Warfare. There was kind of like this lull where I didn't know where Call of Duty was going. And then Modern Warfare comes out, and I think it reinvigorated the franchise.
Yeah. Well, you suck, Jack. You suck. I was just about to say that. You suck. Still my question.
When I pre-ordered the game, I bought that shirt.
But he's absolutely right. At the time, and I was going to say the exact same thing. It's so funny you say that because we got hit with 1, 2, and 3, the original Modern Warfares. They were excellent. Everybody loved them. And then we got hit with things like Ghosts and Advanced Warfare. And we're like, this is not good. We don't want this. Then you came around with the reboot, and we were like, okay, now Call of Duty's kind of like back to their old kind of, you know, their wave that they ride, right? And so it was a breath of fresh air. So let me say thank you on behalf of PS players.
I'll take all the thanks, man, but I had little and less to do with it. I think it's the geniuses at Infinity Ward and Activision themselves. These guys, they had the vision, and you know, these games take anywhere from 3.5 to 4 years to go from conception to out to the market. So they've been planning this for a while. Yeah. It's really been awesome to see how well received it's been, and you know, it's tough to follow in the shoes. You know, the original trilogy was an untouchable franchise, and to bring it back around it's dicey, right? Yeah. Some people want to reboot, some people don't want to reboot, and they just want it to remain the same. So we were really well received. I think we struck a sweet spot between doing something new and updated, but also kind of honoring the games that came before with the characters and everything else too. So I'm glad that people are still on the Modern Warfare Kool-Aid. I've spent 9 months getting to about average player status, and I don't want to let it go yet.
Yeah. And it's crazy because between the original trilogy and the new one, you know, the original Captain Price, it was all voice acting. There wasn't really much motion capture going on. But this one, you know, I heard there was a new Captain Price. I'm like, oh, they got rid of the old guy, but Barry knocked it out of the park. He looks and sounds just like the original Captain Price. How did you get into gaming then as an actor? Is it the same process? You know, you go out for a audition, or did someone contact you, or because you've played a military person in many roles?
Yeah, so this one, and you make a great point because, you know, the technology for video games has just, you know, exponentially gets more and more lifelike every year, right? So I think that the video game industry has taken this huge shift from, you know, doing what crude animations they could and just plugging a voiceover actor in there to round it out. Now, because the technology is so hyper real, you know, they need real actors to move, to perform, to get their face and micro expressions and have the voice. So it's a full performance capture now, and it's a lot harder to just get away with animations and then a voiceover actor in a booth trying to add that life to it. So, you know, that's where we came in, and you know, so because they need actors to do it top to bottom. I do get the opportunity to audition for games, especially in the last 3 to 4 years. You see that, you know, they're calling on TV and film actors to come on stage for video games because they need that all-encompassing performance. And that's how it happened for me in Modern Warfare. I went in, and Taylor Kurosaki, the brilliant, you know, narrative director, I went and worked with him and Brian Bloom, who's an amazing voiceover actor and had a great acting career, who wrote this one. I worked with those guys on the audition for 25 minutes. And 6 weeks later, I got a call back. I just figured it wasn't going anywhere. So, but you know, you get surprised, and I got that surprise call, and I was super excited. Still very in the dark. Yeah. It wasn't until I went and did a bunch of face scans at the Activision studio that I started to put 2 and 2 together, and figured out that it was a Call of Duty game. And you know, they surprised us with the Modern Warfare reboot news on our first rehearsal day.
Really? So when you apply to audition for a game, you don't even know what game it is? Is that typically how it goes?
No. Really? I mean, you can put some context clues together and just kind of figure out what the company is and stuff like that. But it's always dummy name, dummy, acting material to
Really?
read in the auditions, and you sign NDAs regardless of all that stuff. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, you're pretty in the dark. But you know what? The one thing you can assume is that the more NDAs you sign, the bigger the game it's going to
True.
be.
True. Like you said, context clues. I like that.
Mhm.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's like one of those industry kind of things you wouldn't know unless you talk to somebody involved in it. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So was it like, okay, you don't know what you're doing, then it's like it's Call of Duty. Okay, cool. And then you find out it's Modern Warfare? Because as a gamer, you're like, oh crap, Modern Warfare. Like, was it like that? Like, did you first hear it's going to be Call of Duty, then Modern Warfare, or was it given to you all at once?
Yeah, I figured out that it was going to be a Call of Duty game,
Yeah.
just because Activision was associated. And I knew the material I was reading was all very, military based, soldier based. But it was a total surprise, the Modern Warfare reboot. That was news to me, and I was really excited. And I like I said before, I thought they did an amazing mix of bringing back Gaz and Captain Price, but also introducing Alex and introducing Farah and other characters you could really get behind and love. So it was a really nice, sweet spot. They walked the line
campaign was
perfectly.
phenomenal. I mean, I think the year before Black Ops 4, they just went straight multiplayer, and that was a fun game. It was sort of the last of the advanced movement games.
Yeah.
But when I heard the redo, that first trailer that they showed, I'm like, oh, this looks nice. And then I knew it was going to be a good game when some gaming YouTubers were like, I think the game was a little too rough. It was a little too aggressive. I'm like, good. Thank you. I hope it is. If you're crying, it means it's a good game. But
right.
It was whereas the first one I think was a lot about like sort of more like big action pieces. This one really felt ripped out of the headlines. I mean, the opening sequence in London was very similar, unfortunately, what we saw happen in Paris. And it's very unapologetic in its brutality, but it's again, you have the old characters, you have Price, you have Gaz, and we don't realize it's Gaz till the end.
Right.
But the working with the actress, I always forget her name, who played Farah, because she's sort of like the pivotal character. What was it like working with her?
Yeah, Claudia Dumit. She's a wonderful actor. As you know from playing the campaign, I did the great bulk of my scenes with her. Alex and Farah, Freedom Fighter storyline. She's amazing. She's wonderful. We were super lucky to have her. Such a talented actress. I think she's Australian,
Oh, really?
And so for her to do, the Middle Eastern accent, and then run that through the American act, like she's just phenomenal. And we had a blast, and we had a great time. The whole cast really, I just thought they blew it out of the park. I mean, they're amazing, and also just really great humans. And we had so much fun. And I know a lot of the storylines and contents were heavy, because this is Modern Warfare, that's the name in the title. These aren't pretty pictures. There's a lot of gray area. And I love that they didn't, pull punches in that way, because it makes you realize that like this is what it looks like. And so I think that was a good thing to just get people grounded in the fact that like it's not pretty and it's best to be avoided. But the such a lovely crew, after cut on every scene, we were laughing, joking, just loving on each other and having a great time. So it was an amazing experience all the way around.
That's really how you make a great product, is when your performers are comfortable and they get along with each other and that chemistry is there. That's really how you get the best performance. So kudos to that.
Yeah, we had it in spades. It was a lovely group.
So I have one question about you and Farah. I had this is one of the few campaigns that I've replayed in the last couple of years since it came out. I always thought, this might be overreaching, that there was a little something between Farah and Alex. A little bit of, was that totally, am I reading too much into it? Were you told to maybe put a little, obviously you guys don't get together, but I felt there was that kind of chemistry there.
I've heard that before, and I suppose the best answer for that, as always, is a gentleman never tells.
So what you're saying is Modern Warfare 2, or the new Modern Warfare 2, will find out.
Right. Nothing's ever, nothing like that was ever scripted. A romance and stuff. It's been fun to see, fans of the game take that ball and run with it, and whatever. But you could understand how they, after such a harrowing experience together, they could form a bond that grows in a different way. But but then Alex ran off into a factory. So the rest is history.
Speaking of fans, did you hear the theory, which I never liked, that you were actually Simon Ghost Riley, that Alex was a fake name, and that which I guess with the subsequent, they came out with more material where there is a ghost in the game, but originally there was a theory. What did you think of that?
It's kind of funny to see all these YouTubers and influencers and people who break all the rumors. It's amazing. Like, I've enjoyed those videos so much. Just, Alex is really a ghost, and here's why. Like Ink Slasher, like there's a bunch of people that I've got to meet and interact with that are just super cool. They're so passionate about the game.
Yeah.
That's why these theories kind of spin out there, right?
Yeah.
And I love it. I think Alex was supposed to be Soap for a while. He's supposed to be a million guys, but I think it's pretty clear now that Alex is just Alex.
It's just Alex. Well, worst case scenario, let's say you hypothetically get a script for Modern Warfare 2 and be like, no, you are Soap or you are Ghost. Can you do an English accent?
I suppose I could, for sure. I don't know that it would please anybody's ears, but I don't know. I hope that Alex stays Alex, man. I really, it's a sigh of relief. I've talked about this before, like Barry coming in, knowing he was going to be Captain Price, going to be the face of this game on the cover and everything else. He had the hardest job, I think.
Yeah.
And Barry's a phenomenal guy and an unbelievable actor, as you saw on full display in this game. But that is such a beloved role that was established before. The sound, the look, everything else. Now Barry's got to step in and again pay tribute to what came before, but he's also got to put his own stamp on it, because this is 9 years later in a completely different type of game. So he had a hard job, and I thought he just crushed it every which way till Sunday. But it was nice for me to just have a character that was brand new, and there was no boots to fill, so to speak. I got to kind of create it with the writer, with the director, and everybody else. We got to create it our way and as we saw fit. So there was no pressure to kind of match anything that came before.
Do you have a favorite campaign mission?
Favorite campaign mission? That's a good one. Oh boy, I kind of like the one where he's sniping.
Yes.
And he's shooting at watermelons, and Forrest is giving him all this grief.
That was a tough one, because this kind of changed Call of Duty. Call of Duty before was just point and shoot. Now they're like, look at the flag. Now you got to raise it 10 meters. I'm like, oh boy, But that's a great mission. There's a big twist at the end of that mission.
Yeah, and I think one of the earlier missions too, where I do initially get embedded with Farah and her people, and she's kind of walking me around this occupied territory, and that was brutal.
Carrying the bricks.
Carrying the bricks, and putting the oil filter on the gun as a silencer. But then hiding from the guards and stuff like that. That was a really cool mission, but also it kind of started to lay the groundwork for like the gravity of the situation. Like occupation is no walk in the park. Like there's people hanging. Being hung.
Russians were hanging people.
Yeah, it was rough.
Compare that to like working on a set. Everything's around you. When you're working, you're in an intense situation in Call of Duty, but it's mostly green screen. How do you kind of get into the mold? Like, all right, Russians are hanging people here. There are dead bodies over here, but you're in a. How do you get into, I guess, the mindset of a character when you don't have those sets there for you?
Yeah, it's a lot of imagination work, man. It's a big old playground, and they do certain things. Like if you've got to hop up into a chopper, they'll kind of put like a PVC piping rig with some a platform of wood that you can kind of stand on. Yeah, so you can know like not to put your hand up too far because you'll go through the roof. So we had really crude construction of simple things like that. They had built kind of crude pre-visualization models, so you can kind of look into a monitor and see like, okay, this is kind of the rough 3D version of this sort of thing.
So you have an idea at least. Yeah,
you'd have an idea, and they try to arm us as much as they could, with the layout, and obviously the director being like, look, a chopper's over here, this truck's taking off, you got to shout, you're in the middle of a gunfight, everything's got to be ramped up. So stuff like that is cool, but it was a lot of imagination work, which I think is really freeing. It's really it was a lot of fun to be able to do that.
So let me ask you this: do you record physical action and voice acting separately, or is this one run when shooting a game?
No, it's all together. When we were shooting those cutscenes and those mission intros and outros in the campaign and stuff like that, it was all. We had all the cameras. We were mic'd up as well. And so it captured everything all at once. So, we had to be word perfect with our lines. We had to hit our marks and find our spots on the stage itself very precisely, because there's no editing in video games.
Yeah.
It is like, it's like a live play. You really have
Yep.
to nail everything word perfect, movement perfect in that one take, or else you got to go again. So we had a lot of rehearsal days to get us ready for the actual shooting days, which were a big help and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, kudos to you. I know that can't be easy. I always give respect to those that record in situations like that and nevertheless put on a good performance when you got the motion cap suit, you got props around you. So my hat's off to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's a unique challenge, the video game stuff, because you are wearing this helmet rig, and you do have this like 1.5 foot bar in front of your face. It's got an HD camera staring right back at you to capture all the micro expressions as you go. So I think that was always the trickiest thing about it is try not to get this 1.5 foot bar tangled with someone else's 1.5 foot bar when you got to do some close talking. So you're kind of like doing a little awkward leans here and there to kind of avoid. It's like teenagers making out with bracers sometimes. You don't want to get caught up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
How long was the filming? Because Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, their campaigns are not like freaking Red Dead 2, where you have like 20 hours of cutscenes, but there's a lot of physical action stuff. So how long for you, like, was the filming period? Was it months? Was it years? Did they call you back after a while to do more stuff?
Yeah, we did. It was about 1.5 years.
Wow.
And we focused mostly on those cutscenes, those mission intros and outros. Where Alex and Farr will be talking and whatever else and acting out some stuff, and then all of a sudden, you've morphed into the shoes of Alex. First person perspective. So we shot all that sort of stuff over 1.5 years. We'd go back about once a month and get a good week in there. 3 to 4 filming days, maybe a rehearsal day on top of that. So it was really on and off for about 1.5 years, and then we came in and filled out a ton of like voiceover stuff, all the battle chatter you'll hear, I'm hit and stuff like that, and then we did it all again for Warzone, all the voiceover stuff as well, and shooting some of those cutscenes. So that was the focus of it, and so pretty much 1.5 years, almost 2 years on and off.
So I'm not going to ask you to confirm this, but maybe give me your theory. Supposedly Alex dies at the end, but we don't see it. And if movies and television have taught us anything, if you don't see it, doesn't happen. I'm not asking you to tell me what the truth is, but what was your feeling? Do you think he's alive, he made it, or do you think no, he's dead, he's gone?
Yeah, well, it was revealed in season 4.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was revealed. Yeah, so yeah, it was a big surprise.
Every time I want to play Modern Warfare, it's like wait 2 hours for a new update. I'm like,
right. Yeah. Well, the Warzone thing is blown up. It's huge.
Yeah.
This battle royale system they put in, which is a ton of fun. It's been great. So they actually, for the battle pass for multiplayer Warzone stuff like that, Alex had a big reveal that he was alive and that he lost a leg in the campaign chemical factory explosion. But he's back, and he's back with the Task Force 141.
Okay.
And so the story's been kind of unfolding.
That's where
if you don't follow.
Thing.
Right.
No, because I saw the trailer. I saw you were in it, but I didn't realize that was going to be connected to the campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was kind of a carry through, and unless you play a lot of multiplayer and Warzone and stuff, you wouldn't know that those reveals were happening.
Yeah,
but they kept that storyline going.
I only play Warzone. If I do play, it's Warzone.
Team deathmatch right here. I am so awful. I just play straight up team deathmatch.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think objective-based missions, I never do them. I'm like, all right, I got to kill people. They're like, grab the flag, hold down the place. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to stick with team deathmatch.
That's the cool thing about this game is that whatever style of play you like, they got it. If you're a campaign story guy, you got that. If you're just a multiplayer guy, you've got that, Spec Ops, or if you want to drop in Warzone and do all those things. I think it's a great variety for players, no matter, however they like their cake, they can have it.
And I got to give props to Call of Duty, especially this last 2 years. A lot of fans are complaining about microtransactions and all this stuff. But Call of Duty is like, you know what? You get it all. Once you buy the game, you're getting season 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's been wonderful. Like, just for Call of Duty to take the lead in that, because so many other games are like microtransactions, and with Call of Duty, like, no, you will get the game. When you buy it on day one, that's the game, and whatever add-on, season 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I really loved that. It's been wonderful just to play Call of Duty again and to like talk about it, like top dog. And that campaign, I thought it was one of the better campaigns. I think we were talking about the video game awards and how I felt it should, not last year, but the year before, it should have been nominated for Game of the Year because I thought it was a hell of a campaign that made, and I played every campaign, I have them all, but that one was just flat out awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it's I loved it too, and one of the biggest complaints we got about the campaign was that it wasn't very long. It only took you like 7-8 hours to get through it, and when you're going up against the Red Deads and the more story-driven games out there, an 8-hour campaign or playthrough is not going to hold up to a 300-hour, Final Fantasy whatever, So, they know their audience and they don't care about the awards because they know that their bread is buttered through multiplayer and the interactivity of the players, Warzone, whatever you have it. So it's also, someone told me, because I was at the Video Game Awards, where our amazing sound engineers picked up an award because the sound is amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. It's really incredible. And but they were talking about, they were nominated for a bunch, didn't really win anything, but they said it doesn't matter, because it's kind of like no one wants to keep giving the Oscar to the same director who's clearly the best, but he's already got like 10. Yeah. So it's kind of like people getting sick of the Patriots winning the Super Bowl.
That's funny. I was gonna say it, but I was gonna compare them to Disney instead of football.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's in Boston. Careful. He's in Boston.
Right.
That's ain't the same.
I mean, look, if you're good, you're good, right? And if you get that trophy, you get that dang trophy. But at the same time, I think a lot of the people, at least at Activision and Infinity Ward, didn't really care about the awards just because they're like, it's Call of Duty. We do great. Yeah. We sell great. The fans love us and we're happy and they keep coming back. So it's like, what does a trinket matter to us? Like, it doesn't matter. Like any award show, there's a lot of politics that go into it. So they don't get too attached about that sort of stuff. They just get attached about making.
And I just got to say something about those fans who say the campaign's not long enough. They're not real fans because the campaigns have always been about 7 to 8 hours, depending which different. I'm like, these noobs, they just bought the game, didn't they?
Yeah, right.
It's like it's only 8 hours. It's only supposed to be 8 hours.
Chad, is the VGAs just something I can go to or like just buy tickets for and go?
You can. Yeah, out here in LA.
That's what I'm talking about.
I picked up a couple tickets to go myself last year. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, I can't wait for conventions and stuff. You a Comic-Con kind of guy?
Oh yeah, I go every year. San Diego,
Nice. I can't wait for conventions and Comic-Con and everything to open back up. It's so boring without it, Did you guys
it's been tough.
Did you have a panel at Comic-Con the year Modern Warfare got rebooted? What was it, 2018, right?
They don't really go down and do San Diego. They'll focus more on like gaming specific conventions and stuff like that. So we didn't really, get out on that circuit just because, San Diego Comic-Con, you're talking Marvel movies, DC movies, Star Wars, you're talking all things geek.
It's a lot going on.
Modern Warfare being, it's not as great as a fit. If they were to do something like zombie specific, maybe they would throw us down there. But we were at E3, which is the big video game industry event and whatever else, and that's where they debuted a lot of their stuff. And
that
was a blast.
They had that massive Modern Warfare poster for E3. It was like hanging off the side of the building.
Yeah, it was.
And with Call of Duty, it's like you don't need to do press.
Well,
everyone knows it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not a console gamer as much, I've got my finger in the pulse somewhat to what games are out there. But since I just do PC gaming and I love fantasy RPGs and stuff like that, it was amazing to walk the halls of E3 and just see like, oh, this is why you take out the big ad front and center outside the LA Convention Center, because there are literally hundreds of games that look amazing. Cyberpunk was everywhere. Skyrim was everywhere. All these new games were coming out. I was like, there's so much choice for players that like you have to cut through the clutter and let yours be seen and heard early and often if you're gonna put a dent in the market.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And what was it, Jack? What was it again? 2019. Right?
2019.
That was a hell of a year.
Trailer.
Yeah, that was a hell of a year for gaming. So you got to get that big poster. You got to make sure you cover that wall. We had a lot going on in 2019.
And speaking of games, you were in a game that I played. It was a very short game called Hidden Agenda.
Yes.
That was made by, I think it was the same people who made Until Dawn and Man of Madonna. I think they make those kind of like.
Okay.
And I saw it at Target. It was really cheap because it's only like maybe a 3-hour game, 2-hour game, depending on the choice you make. I'm a big fan of those story mode games. Have you thought about doing more of those? Because that's really big, you know. Don't Nod and I forgot who made Until Dawn and Hidden Agenda. But you know, just they're kind of like those storybooks, like Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yes.
With real characters, with real actors.
Yeah, it felt like an interactive movie, you know, where you get to just guide how it ends, you know, in that way. I had a great experience. That was my first video game experience.
Okay.
And, you know, we only did a few days on that because the role was more of a supporting role, but it was full face capture and, of course, voice as well.
Yeah.
But that was really cool. I didn't actually play through it all myself just because I lost track of when the darn game even came out. And I know it was only. About it. Yeah, it was only a PlayStation game, and I had Xbox at that point. So
the only reason I heard about it was because I played Until Dawn, and I looked up the company. I'm like, who makes these games? And I found them, and they had this other game called Hidden Agenda. I'm like, oh, okay. And you know, I found out it was at my local Target. I ran out, picked it up. It was only like $15, and I had to play it twice because the first time I made some bad decisions in the game for like 90 minutes. I'm like, what the hell? And then when I went online, they said you got to make different decisions for the story to continue. But are there any other video games are you currently in the future you might be working on? I don't know if you can tell us or
you know, video game is NDA life, man. So I can never tell you until the things drops. But I did something back in December that I think people are going to be really excited about, and I think around February I'll be able to make an announcannouncement about that. But it was a lot of fun to do.
We're gonna be back on February.
I like that, Chad. Leave us with a little ominous, a little little questions. I like that.
You know, woman's got to have a little mystery about her. You know, gotta keep it fresh.
I want to talk a little bit. You've been in a couple of things that I wanted to talk about, but I guess the big one I really want to talk about was this show Extinct. For anyone watching, I think Pluto has it, IMDb TV has it. It's 10 episodes. Really worth watching. I started watching and I finished it in 2 days. I was up. I could not stop watching it. Would you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about that show? Because I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Extinct. Yeah, Extinct is a show, a sci-fi kind of all ages adventure show we did for BYU TV. So Brigham Young University has their own television network, and they wanted to put a cool sci-fi show out there that you know, all ages could watch, generations of a family could watch. So it was cool. It was 400 years set in the future after the human race was wiped out, and a handful of us were brought back to reinvigorate the human race, and we didn't know when or why. So it was kind of like a futuristic meets like throwback medieval type show. We're, you know, because we're scavenging, trying to survive, but we're also assisted by these like futuristic drones and stuff like that with good intentions. We're fighting off an alien like parasitic race that's trying to thwart us. So it was really fun. We shot it in and around the state of Utah, which is incredibly beautiful and majestic, which is why you got so many great looks. You got hot springs, you got desert, you got mountaintops covered in snow. So we had a blast. It was 10 episodes. It did really, really, really well for the network, but I think there was some internal politics there where we didn't continue, sadly, much to the chagrin of all the people who watched it. So, but thank you. That's one of my favorite experiences as an actor. I had a great time doing it, even if we went extinct pretty early on in the process.
I think that's our co-host Tyler has just joined us.
Oh,
yeah.
Did I accidentally join the whole thing?
Yeah.
There it is. Oh yeah, got him out.
Welcome, man.
The way so he's actually the co-host. He's working on behind the scenes. He's editing and putting this all together.
Awesome.
But Justice, the show Extinct. It's kind of funny you mentioned it's kind of family friendly. I didn't think of it, but like it's actually not that violent. I guess kids could watch it because now when you think of sci-fi, you think edgy stuff. But your character is Ezra. You know, he's a former Ranger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's a former Ranger. He wakes up in this kind of pool, and you find out, you know, you guys have died 400 years ago. Your last memories are when you were on Earth, and all you know, you have this little drone. I think the first one you meet is Red, who's like, yeah, you got to follow us and we're going to explain everything to you. And there's like mystery after mystery. You meet these other people. They're called the Skin Riders.
Skinwalkers or
Skinwalkers.
Skin Rider. Yeah, Skin Riders, something like that.
Skinwalker was Creepshow. We'll get to that.
That's right. Yeah.
That was a great fight. I got to get to the Creepshow. It's funny because like I feel like there's so many damn TV shows out there. I was surprised I hadn't heard of this one.
Mhm.
And it's really basic, simple storytelling. It got to the point really quick. And once I watched the first episode, I was hooked. But you know, they say never say never. Do you think that show could ever come back? Because it does kind of conclude, but it leaves the door open.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, man. It was kind of a no-brainer in the way that it was really well received. And you know, we were a little show that could. We had a small budget and we just had a small crew and a small cast, but everybody loved this show. Everybody believed in it. You know, I thought we did a really good job for what little resources we had, and you know, the ratings and the eyes and the viewers bear it out. But you know, it's corporate America at the end of the day, and decisions get made, and some shows are just kind of you know, cut short, and it was really disappointing to all of us. But I think that was one of my favorite bits of feedback about that show was hearing stories about how a 7-year-old and you know, her older brothers, you know, were sitting with the parents who were also sitting with the grandparents who were 89. We're all watching this show together, and I thought it was really cool. You know, there was no need for anyone to leave the room at any point. You know, it wasn't too violent or gory for grandma. It wasn't too, you know, suggestive so that the kids had to do this. So it was really nice thing to put out there in the sci-fi world, and you know, we all had a great time on it. So it's always nice to hear that feedback.
Yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. You know, pride in your work, enjoyment, and entertainment. That's what it is at the end of the day. So that's what's up.
You know what? I'm lucky to be able to do what I do, man. I play pretend for a living, and it's a blast. And you know, we make that stuff so people can feel something. You know,
there you go.
And that's you know, you make something good and that resonates, and it's always really rewarding to hear that back.
Well,
how you doing on time? Because I really want to talk about Howlers.
Let's go, man. I think we're good. I don't think we're at an hour yet, are we?
I have no idea. I don't have.
I don't know
so we're at about 45.
Okay.
Are we really?
Yeah.
So
I know, it flies by. I know it. There it is.
I saw Howlers. It was on Amazon, and I just saw the premise: cowboys and werewolves. I'm like, I gotta watch this. Yeah. It reminded me a lot of The Lost Boys a little bit. You know, they're using practical effects a lot of times when they do supernatural stuff these days. They do CGI. Kind of reminded me of, like, you know, first couple seasons of Buffy. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. You play a cowboy who was trained by he wasn't a samurai, but he was like I guess someone from the Ming Dynasty or something. And
was that it?
Yeah. So your character kills these werewolves. They're like outlaws.
Yeah.
Then the story jumps to modern day, and somehow they've come back to life. And for your character, it's a bit of fish out of water. The first time you see a truck, you know, she's the girl. She uses lingo and terms you haven't heard. Tell me about that, because that was a fun movie. I really enjoyed it. It was B, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a super fun experience. We did it a while ago. It was the consummate indie filmmaking experience. Basically, you know, you're trying to get the money to get it made. You never have enough money, and we were dealing with very little money. Filming in Texas. It was written and directed by a great guy named Josh Ridgway. We're still good friends to this day. But yeah, that was it. You know, he's an old West werewolf hunter who thinks he's killed the last of them, and then he just goes and takes a dirt nap. Next thing you know, they're all reawakened in the modern age. So they're figuring out what the hell trucks are and you know, the cities and smartphones and all this sort of stuff, while also trying to find each other and kill each other once again. So it was fun. It was really action packed. I had a great time filming it. It was very campy, very tongue in cheek. You know, you can't be too self-righteous with those movies, especially when you have very little money and the circumstances are so preposterous. So it was really, really fun. And you know, we had our share of issues with filming that. You know, there was, you know, at a certain point, you know, we went back for the page count in the script, and I think we didn't get to shoot like 20 or 25 pages out of the script. So it was kind of an unfinished movie that we had to just do the best we could with and put out there, but people seemed to enjoy it, and I had a blast on it, and made some good friends to this day.
I always forget the actor's names. He was in the Dead Zone. Sean Patrick
Flannery. Yeah.
Flannery, yeah.
He's great. He's great in everything.
Yeah,
he's
he's
amazing.
really good. He was in Powder, that movie from like the mid '90s. I think that was him.
Boondock Saints. He's been in a million great movies.
Boondock Saints. That's right. Yeah.
Really.
Awesome.
His character, you can just tell he's having fun with that role. Like he's the
Yeah, he
mayor.
was.
He's got all these women around. He's got all this excess money, and then you walk in. He's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I mean, I just love those moments.
No, he'd shoot up that scenery, man. I love Sean. He was a hell of a nice guy to meet, and I've always been a big fan. So it was awesome to be able to act alongside of him, but also just talk to him. He's a really nice guy, and he's one of the best parts of that movie. He was just having a blast as the corrupt Playboy mayor. It was it was fantastic. I loved everything he did in that movie.
It's going to be one of the best parts about acting. You get to play all different types of people, different roles, like you mentioned earlier, different places. I mean, you really are living the dream and living the best life you possibly can. So
you nailed it, man. And I think back to like, what's the best life I can live? I'm a curious guy. I love to learn. I really think acting is unique in the way that it takes you all over the world. It takes you to different states, countries, peoples. You get to try in a new role and kind of live a different life every single time you suit up and step onto a set. And for someone who's curious in that way, like me, it's the perfect profession, man. And that's why I got into this racket.
That's something I never thought of. An actor would have a great world knowledge, a lot of knowledge in a lot of different type of lifestyles and aspects and places, because you're constantly in different places, playing different types of people. I like that. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, some of the best acting advice is, outside of just training and going to class and learning technique, is to go out and live a well-rounded life. Every experience that you put under your personal belt is something that you could maybe tap into for a role down the road. You never know. Yeah. So
very true.
Actors are encouraged to go out there and live it up as much
there
as
it is. There it is. I like it.
Chad, I'm going to throw this out there because you're talking about video games and these different roles. I don't know if you ever played the Metal Gear Solid series, but there are rumors that they're remaking the original one from scratch.
Probably.
And I know David Hayter, he's Solid Snake, but he's a voice actor. I'm not sure if he's done any, And all of a sudden, I want our fans to chip in. I kind of get a Solid, especially with your hair, because I haven't seen your hair like that. I'm getting a little bit of a Solid Snake vibe.
Yeah, no, I can see it. Yeah, I could see it. Okay. Throw some scruff on you, maybe some grays in the hair. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, little eye patch action. Maybe, I don't know if anyone's listening out there and you're making Metal Gear.
That'd be a dream, dude. I'll age myself here and tell you that one of my favorite Nintendo games growing up was the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge, which was impossible, dude. I think I only beat that game with the help of a Game Genie.
I never
beat like the ultimate hack.
I didn't beat it. I ended up watching it on YouTube. You know how they have people who finish the game? Metal Gear 2. It's like I got so used to like interactive games, it was so hard. Like, but those games are so legendary. But I'm like, I don't know if they're remaking it and they need an actor who can both act and do video games.
That was just I just want to hashtag started. I just want to emphasize that what an old school sentence that was. I couldn't beat it without a Game Genie. Oh my God, I haven't heard of a Game Genie.
You know.
Oh man, many games I needed a Game Genie for.
Just about all of them for Nintendo, man. Those games are impossible to beat sometimes. Like, why did you make this game? No one's gonna get past the first level and you charge $50 for it. Game Genie, baby.
We appreciate you. Like you said before, time does fly when we're having a good time, but it is closing in on that time. So let me just take a moment to say thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
No, thank you guys. This is a great chat. I'm a nerd, so I love being in video games. I love playing them even more, comic books, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, I can talk about this stuff for days.
My man. Well, if you ever want to come back, we're more than willing to have you on.
He's coming back in February to talk about whatever it is
Yeah.
I mean, if you say yes, Chad,
Of course. I would love to, man. I'd love to be able to talk to you.
You know what? I'm such a dork. I was going to put on my stupid night vision goggles that came with my Modern Warfare. I'm like, that's going too far.
Appreciate that.
All right. I just got to do a little bit of house cleaning. I want everyone to, kind of chime in. What was your favorite moment in Modern Warfare? What's your favorite campaign mission in Modern Warfare? Make sure you follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Snapchat, MySpace, AOL, we're on everything. You look us up, we're on everything. We are also raising money for our creator Ty. His mom is suffering with cancer, so we are raising money for that. If you can chip in even $1 or $2, that's great. Please do that. I want to thank Chad for being here. And Chad, if they make a Modern Warfare 2, we are the first YouTubers you're going to come with, because if they do that.
If they do that, and I hope they do that.
If they do Modern Warfare 2 or whatever they're going to call it.
It will dance again for sure. Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And Chad, take it away.
Everyone, this is Chad Michael Collins, aka Echo 31. And on behalf of the Pop Culture Corner, I just want to say we do it for you, we do it for the culture.
My man.